heroes, villains, bisexuals, gays. We are so bad. This card, Wing Kuriboh Sabatier level 10, is unbelievably powerful for our deck. The implications it has are immense. I believe this is the best piece of support Hero has gotten since DPE came out in Burst of Destiny, which is saying a lot. That was the last time Hero was even remotely playable, was in the formats following Bode. To me, this is going to let me pilot Hero in a way that I did when I got my invite with it in cash format. And the biggest thing about that build of the deck was that we had 3 Pot of Prosperity, okay? I think that during that format, Hero was actually a very respectable deck. And I think the reason people were struggling to get their invites or convert at Nats was because people did not want to play Prosby in their Hero decks, which to me was ridiculous. The thing about Hero is that Hero's math, Hero's numbers are really bad. They are really bad. The amount of shit you have to put in your deck for the combo lines to function, it is bad. It's a bad look for sure. And what that means is that you have to pick in deck building between having a respectable going first engine that can play through hand traps, or having a respectable non-engine lineup that can make you semi-threatening if you lose the die roll. Of course, you can also take the approach of playing 60 cards, or like 55, but I think that has always been terrible. Hero has all of its power concentrated in very specific bomb cards, and lowering the probability of you seeing those, I think, is very rarely worth it. So let's go ahead and talk about Sabatier really quick. First of all, I don't know if you heard the news about Clayman. Let me actually find him really quick, the Clay Guardian. So this card on summon, special summons Stratos from the deck, which is really good because this is an instant fusion target. And instant fusion is searchable by, you guessed it, little man right here. So yeah, special summoning Clayman for the cost of 1,000 life points, and then special summoning Stratos from the deck, that is just better at Hero Lives. So for the first time ever, I guess arguably maybe FD has done this as well, but without question, the best starter in our deck is no longer a Hero Lives, it is Instant Fusion, which is crazy. So this is 3 additional copies of the best card in our deck. It also adds Fusion Destiny, which is crazy. It also adds regular Poly, which is important and does come up in certain game states, right? So not only is the quality of our starters increasing and is access to another bomb power spell going up, but this card also going second adds super polymerization. Okay, this is nuts. This is where I draw the comparisons between Pot of Prosperity. Okay, now this is the part where I'm going to get into some math stuff, so if you think that's fake or that's boring, then you feel free to just like close out at any point. But let me break down the significance of this as far as your ratios go, okay? So in a 42 card deck, if you want to expect to see a breaker going second, right, that is to say in a hand of 6, you need to be playing 7 of them. All right, so here are the 7 breakers that I think you would play. You play 3 Kuriboh, 3 Droplet, and 1 Super Poly, right, to facilitate that ratio. But then when you go first, the number of starters you need to play in order to see 2 of them is 17 if you're on 42, 16 if you're on 40, but 17 is largely agreed upon because 17 also gives you like a 93% chance or something like that of seeing at least 1 going first, so people like that number. But then you say, okay, wait, isn't this kind of cheating? Because like when you go second, he's no longer considered a starter if you're counting him in your breaker count. Well, here's the thing. Again, remember that going second, you don't have a 5-card hand, you have a 6-card hand, right? And the number of starters you need to play in order to see 2 of them in a 6-card hand is 14, right? So if you need 17 in a 5-card hand and 14 in a 6-card hand, that means when you go second, you can treat 3 of those starters as breakers and have the same odds going first. Same odds as you would going first, right? So it's flawless. This is the thing that I was always trying to get people to understand when we had 3 Prosby, is I was like, dude, you have to play this card. Like, Hero cannot have respectable ratio. It really doesn't have respectable ratios regardless because it can never play hand traps. But you can be a breaker deck and have like strong going first consistency if you will just play Prosperity, right? And the same thing is true with this guy, right? So whatever other 14 starters you want to play, so you're going to play like 3 Hero Lives, right? You're going to play 3 Fusion Destiny. Some people don't want to play FD because the Dark Lock is kind of a thing now. I think that's cope. I think you still play triple FD. You're still ending on DPE Dark Lock Contrast, which is like crazy. And you play 2 Stratos. You have to play 2 Stratos now because you can summon one off of a Hero Lives and then another off of Instant Fusion, which is now the best card in the deck going first, which is crazy. So what is this? 3, 6, 9. The Rhoda. There's 10. Vision Heroes. I think I'll make a video on this later, but I think you're gonna have to pick between running Vision Heroes or the Ejector package. I'll get into it a little bit real quick. This ratio, so the 1-1 seems like insane, right? Because historically you have to put either Vion or increase to 2, because if you see either of them and it's the one of, then it kills your ability to use Ferris. But we don't actually care about resolving Ferris. The important thing about that card is that it allows you to special summon Vion. It allows you to play Vion without using your normal summon, right? So now, if you see the Vion, right, yeah, you can't like resolve the Ferris, but instead of searching the Ferris, you just search Fountain, and it facilitates an identical inboard, right? So that's pretty cool. And then you can play 2 Vion if you want still. Like, it's a good card. I just think Stratos is better, so I'd probably play E-Call. So it's at 3, 6, 9, 12, 14. That's 14. So here's your 17 starters, 7 breakers. Peak, dude. Peak, dude. We just created 3 slots in the main deck, which is important because here's the thing about Hero. Increase. Shadow Mist. Miracle Fusion. Favorite Contact here, dude. And now the Masked Heroes. Which, again, these cards are cool. They do, like, function as situational extenders. But, again, I think, like, you run into trouble. I know personally I've suffered from this. I've ran into trouble trying to make Hero playable. And to justify additional non-engine space, I have, like, tried to treat Malicious or Shadow Mist or Mass Change as like situational extenders, and you're just really better off sticking to cards that you know will function as independent lines of play. Yeah. So and anyway, this is a much cleaner hero list than we have had access to since, again, the last time Prosperity was at 3. And I hope that you guys take advantage of it. I think, yeah, this is a phenomenal card. I think people are hung up on how powerful the combos with Instant Fusion are, which I think is definitely true, but like Hero's always getting some ridiculous YouTube Wombo combo, right? The thing about this card that you should be focusing on is what it lets you do for your ratios. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching.